It's time to go racing from the heartland. Would you like to see some oval racing? We got it at INDY NXT by Firestone, capping the championship season with 4 of the final 5 on ovals, starting on a Saturday afternoon from the Iowa Speedway. It is hot. It's going to get hotter. Not terrible, all things considered, but it's going to be much warmer coming up tomorrow. Already into the mid-80s as we prepare for the hy-vee IndyCar weekend with a doubleheader of IndyCar racing coming up on NBC. I'm Kevin Lee. Look who we brought to the booth today. A 3-time winner in this series, a 2-time winner in IndyCar at the Iowa Speedway. It's James Hinchcliffe. First oval of the season for some of these drivers. First time ever. What is that like?
Look, it's going to be a learning process for a lot of these drivers, but in a lot of ways, it's a learning process for everybody because Iowa is brand new. This new pavement has really thrown things for a loop. So even if you've got experience here in the INDY NXT series before, it's kind of all gone out the window when it does kick off what's a very oval-heavy schedule coming up.
Yeah, you've got Portland as the only road course remaining. Remember, Nashville is back at the Nashville Super Speedway, and there are drivers that have oval experience, but one of the championship contenders, it's brand new for Kyle Collette.
Look, it's going to be, again, a lot to learn for the young Brazilian, but look, this is a great team. He can rely on some of his teammates, certainly, and it's going to be a learning process throughout the day. It's about getting comfortable, but mainly it's about damage limitation. It's not about trying to go for the win necessarily. It's about being there at the end for anyone that's doing this for the first time.
Well, you mentioned a new pave, so that has brought about some format changes for today in the name of safety and simply because Firestone didn't have a chance to make a change. The test was rained out, so there's going to be a competition caution after 15 laps. We'll see what the plan is for today to make sure everything works. So we'll continue to discuss that as we move forward throughout the day. Meanwhile, let's head down to the grid for more information. We check in with DJ Clark.
Good afternoon, Kevin. Good afternoon, James. It is a hot and sweltering day here in Iowa, but there is one driver who is ready to bear with the heat. That is James Rowe. James, you're starting in your first ever pole position here in Iowa. What's it going to take to convert this pole into a victory today?
Yeah, no, it's fantastic to start on the front here in our number 29 Top Gun Andretti Global car. For us to be managing tires and seeing what we have. There was some blistering over the course of the last few sessions, so we think we have a handle on it, but yeah, we just got to see what we got here in about an hour's time.
Well, and with as much tire degradation as we have seen, how much do you think we're going to see a second line start to develop here, or is this going to be a one-line race?
Right now it's like a one-line race, but you never know. Things change, and as stuff starts to dig and whatnot, things can open up. So yeah, we got a fast race going. We're just going to do our thing and yeah, have some fun.
All right, well, we wish him all the best in that. He'll roll off first. And you know what, guys? I've had a chance to talk to a couple of members of the team, particularly the Able Motorsports camp. They think this is going to be an all-out street fight. Everybody's going to be pushing. There is not going to be a lot of tire saving. Everybody's going for it.
Thank you, DJ. As you can see, that was just a moment ago as we get set to go with drivers strapped in. And here's how the championship looks at this point. Louis Foster has taken control. Kyle Collette with his first win last week at Mid-Ohio stays very much in the mix. Jacob Abel is there too. Seems to be a 3-driver race at this point.
Yeah, I mean, 166 back to Hedge there in P4. That's pretty insurmountable, I think, at this point. So as you say, 3 drivers really going for it and kind of spread throughout the field as well. We'll take a look at that in a second. But this is going to be a day that could set the scene for either a tight championship fight coming up, or Louis Foster from where he's starting could open up a lead that might be too tough to tackle for some of these drivers.
And definitely a new dynamic with the new pavement that has thrown everyone for a little bit of a loop coming up this weekend. So who managed that the best? Who takes the best care of the Firestones? All right, drivers are strapped in. We're about ready to go.
Racing here at Iowa Speedway. Let's go trackside to fire the engines.
Race fans, it's time to start the engines for the INDY NXT by Firestone here at Iowa Speedway. Here's your Grand Marshal for today's race, guest of Firestone, Jeremy Harrington, to give the command.
Drivers, start your engines.
A 17 Indy NXT cars are fired and ready to go today from the 7/8 of a mile oval at Iowa Speedway. This is how they line up. The first career pole in Indy NXT for the driver of the TopCon car. That's James Rowe from Ireland, and Louis Foster in the Novara and Copart car with his 6th straight front row start.
Andretti global domination continues with Jamie Chadwick on the inside of third row. Her best oval start and a best career start in Indy NXT for Christian Bogle, driving the Pelican Energy entry.
Callum Hedge is one of those making his very first oval start, coming off a 4th in Mid-Ohio in the HRC car. He starts an impressive 5th, and Christian Brooks continues to dazzle in his 4th Indy NXT race in the Deploy Surveillance car. He's had finishes of 8th, 7th, and 6th.
Abel Motorsports, Jacob Abel, 2nd in points. He's going to need to make some moves to keep a handle on Louis Foster. Beside him, Reese Gold from the Ticket Clinic machine. The 19-year-old's got a best finish of 5th on the season so far.
Bryce Aaron in the Jaguar Land Rover of Chesterfield car is making his Indy NXT oval debut, but he did the oval at IRP this year at USF Pro 2000, and that's where Salvador de Alba Jr. won on the last 2 ovals he raced in the Grupo Indy car.
Jonathan Brown, HMD driver, 7th last time out at Mid-Ohio alongside championship contender Kyle Collette. Talked about that first win coming for him just last race.
Miles Rowe has significant experience at IRP in the USF Championships, but his first and next. He's in the 4th Indy car along with 21-year-old Wisconsin grad Yuvan Sunamorthy, who's got 2 4th-place finishes this season.
Jack William Miller, Vinatieri Motorsports driver, starting a little further back than he'd like alongside Niels Tolan from the Netherlands. Another rookie. This is the very first oval. This driver not coming up through the road to Indy. So again, one to watch, lots to learn.
Josh Pearson was pretty strong here last year in the open context car, but he starts on the back row and making her debut. She's raced here at USAC. She's raced here in ARCA, but the first time in an Indy NXT car with just 1 day of testing. The Bradford Allen driver is Taylor Ferns with Abel Motorsports. All right, we don't have Kimball's keys. Charlie will be back with us soon, so how about Hinch Cliff notes, if you will.
Absolutely. It's all about tires right now, guys. We talked about some of the issues that we've been having, and it really comes down to temperature, so managing those temps, things drivers can do from inside the cockpit to take care of that and get comfy up top. Passes are going to happen in that second lane, Kev.
They will go green this next time by. 15 laps. If we stay green, there will be a competition caution, 10 laps to cool them down, then a 30-lap push to the finish. It's 55 laps from the Iowa Speedway, and they will wave this off. All disjointed, and we've got someone off the pace crawling to the start-finish line, and it's Miles Rowe, who has had horrible luck in recent races. 3 of the last 4 has not had a result. 19th, did have a 6th at Laguna Seca in the first half of the doubleheader, 17th and 19th, and he's had mechanicals or has been collected in a couple of those.
Seems to be up to pace now. The lap count has started. Miles Rowe going to tack on to the back of the grid there. We'll try again.
So this will be lap 2. As we go from Iowa Speedway, James Rowe on the pole for the first time, has the preferred start. The championship leader, Louis Foster, tucks in right behind him. Side by side, a little further back, Jamie Chadwick is in that fight.
Like seeing 3 wide mid-pack there, guys. That second lane certainly working. Third lane as well. As you see the number 7 there, that's Bogle trying to hang on the outside.
Bogle gets it done, up to 3rd. Chadwick trying to hang on to that 4th position. Look at Christian Brooks in that green and black car trying to go around the outside. Now looks to the inside.
Trying to do the overrunner, but he's got pressure now. Cut down to the inside from the number 2. Salvador de Alba, look at this back and forth. It's almost, we got some slide jobs happening. Throwing it in the corner, going a bit wide, having the drivers do the crossover. Lots of early action here at Iowa.
And keep in mind that where you qualify doesn't necessarily tell us how strong a car will be. It's an impound race, meaning some would sacrifice speed to qualify with a more stable car. So you see Miles Rowe trying to make his way back through and pick up some spots. So you may see some comers and some goers. Down to DJ.
Yeah, just had a chance to talk to the Force A&D and HMD camp. They were reporting that the reason Miles spun was a little bit of contact from behind, Kevin.
So that's what it was. It was actually a spin on the start. We saw a few cars out of position. Luckily, no damage. It looks like some big moves being done by the 99 right now of Miles Rowe. But up front, it's James Rowe leading comfortably over Louis Foster, his teammate. Bogle slotted into 3rd. Chadwick managed to hold on to 4th as we see more side-by-side action.
That's the number 27 of Bryce Aaron. working against Kyle Collette, coming off his first win. And here's Foster being challenged by Bogle. Christian Bogle with his best start ever.
Gonna blow those tires off in a minute. 5 back.
So that might have been to Louis Foster's radio.
Look, we talked about this as we take a little bit of a look back at Miles Rowe. Yeah, it does look like he had a little bit of help there. That is that Jack William Miller in the 40. But we talked about tire temps, guys. This is one of the things that drivers have control of. We know there's some concerns with the tires. We're going to have that competition caution coming here at lap 15 to let them cool down, harden a little bit, make sure they can do the distance. So from behind the wheel, the driver right now, yes, I know you want to make moves, you want to get things done, but at the same time, this is only the first 15 laps. You got to be there and have tires under your car for the last 15 laps as we see Miles Rowe continue his charge up through the field, using that high line to great effect down in 3 and 4, working on Bryce.
We will see the competition caution at lap 16. By the way, that contact between Rowe and Miller before the green flag is being reviewed as Rowe goes to the inside, trying to pick up another one. It does get past Bryce Aaron and move into the top 10 from the back.
That's impressive from all the way down, shotgun on the field, and only 10 laps. 55-lap race. We know 10 of them will be under caution here, but he is absolutely the car on the move right now. Christian Bogle not able to continue that charge against Louis Foster up front.
And there will be no action on the contact before the start with that number 40 Patterson Dental car you see there with Jack William Miller working on Euban Summerworthy. That's our onboard.
So just take a look. You can kind of get a sense of the physicality of this place with this new pavement.
Inside, clear.
This new pavement, Kev, it's a lot of grip. These cars are breaking track records. James Rowe's pole position smashed the track record. I think 17 of the 18 cars were under the previous best that had ever been run here in the next car. And we got a spin. Miles Rowe, Salvador Diablo, is it?
No, that's Rowe and Kyle Collette.
Sorry.
Yeah, another green and black car. Just like IndyCar, we have a lot of green and black, but that's a championship contender. Collette was just trying to learn in this race, and he's collected.
I think he did the collecting, actually.
Oh, did he? Okay.
I think he maybe lost the back end of the 18 first. Miles Rowe been working that high line so well to make up those spots. We had just seen the graphic. It said Miles was, one of the big movers, +3, but that was +3 from where he qualified, not actually where he started. He was +8 in terms of actual on-track position. So bad day goes to worse. Very unfortunate for Rowe. Let's take another look at what happened into one here. A little bit of a defensive line from Kyle, and yeah, just lost it. Miles with absolutely nowhere to go. Big damage to both of those race cars.
Oh, what a shame. This is 4 of the last 5 with no result. It was going so well to start the season for Miles Rowe. 8th, 6th, 5th, 7th, 4th in a biggest mover, and he got hit in Road America. Had some mechanical issues in the second race in Laguna Seca, mechanical last week in Mid-Ohio, and he's going to finish at the back again today.
It's always tricky for the drivers coming up on that. Jack Miller there doing a great job getting a woed up mid-corner, not creating any issues for himself. You just see a dejected Miles Rowe walking back to the safety truck there. He was on such a charge, Kev.
A pair of teammates as well. Let's go down to DJ.
I'm down here with AJ Smith of HMD Racing. And AJ, obviously 2 of your cars just taken out. What happened from your eyes?
Well, we're watching the monitor just like everybody. We saw 2 different angles. It's really hard to tell. But it really looks like the 18 may have just gotten loose.
Well, obviously, Kaio now having come back on this in his first oval experience, crash notwithstanding, it looked like he was doing well. Does that bode well for the rest of the season for you and Kaio?
Oh, yeah, his confidence is going to go up. I mean, this probably won't help much, but he was doing a really good job here in practice and was making moves out there, so he'll be fine. He's been doing this a long time.
Well, and then on the other side of it, you've got another driver that's doing incredibly well in the form of Christian Bogle. Talk to me a little bit about him and the impressive pace that this car is putting on.
It is awesome to see Christian doing really well right now. He's pretty pumped up. I don't know if you guys have seen his new fire suit. It looks like a piece of corn. It's awesome. I'm hoping he has a really good day.
All right, well, AJ, we'll let you get back to it. And, guys, I can tell you, I've seen that fire suit from Christian Bogle. It is fantastic.
What a day it's been for Christian Bogle so far. yes, he's been in this series for 4 years, but Christian is still just 23 years old. He really only did a couple of seasons of racing. He didn't start in go-karts. He started in cars. And the reason he moved up so quickly is he's 6'4". He was over 220 pounds at the time. He's really slimmed down. But the feeling he was giving up a lot of weight in USF 2000. So they knew they were going to take their lumps for a little while at this level. And he has shown really nice progress this season. Finished 7th a couple of weeks ago in one of the races. Laguna Seca has 8th and 9th place finishes. And so far having his best day at this level.
He's having a phenomenal day, coming off his best career start. Oh, and look at all the fluid coming out of the back of the 99. This is going to be a lengthy cleanup. Just trying to look at where that is on the track in terms of from the white line to the wall. It looks like it's kind of sitting in the middle of what lane 2 would be. So just one more time. Yeah, it looks eerily similar to Marcus Ericsson's crash from yesterday in the IndyCar practice. Kind of turned in off that new pavement on the older stuff. Not as much grip as the front end gets down onto the new stuff. Front grips up, overpowers the rear, sends the car around. And it's so unfortunate for a driver in his first oval race. And I'm sure, as AJ was saying, confidence on the ovals is fine, but running laps is so important at this phase of a young driver's career, trying to learn the IndyCar ladder system.
So we were within a couple of laps of the planned competition caution, so this will serve as the competition caution. It was planned to be 10 laps. It's going to take every bit of that and more to get the track cleaned up. So they'll reset, and James Rowe will lead Louis Foster, Christian Boldel, and Jamie Chadwick. Back to DJ.
Well, I've caught up with the team owner right now who's got to be feeling pretty good. 1-2 as they go. Michael, this is pretty impressive here from both Louis and from James Rowe.
No, they're doing a really good job. I was really happy for James yesterday to get his first pole. That was awesome. And hopefully he can hold on and win it. Still a long way to go. Tires are a big question, so we'll have to wait and see what happens.
Well, when we talk about those tires a little bit, what's the strategy here? We heard some conflicting reports earlier on that everybody was going to be pushing for them. Is it now into a little bit of a tire-saving mode for the rest of these teams?
Pretty much, yeah. I think you have to really take care of them, not push them too hard, because I think push them too hard, you overheat them, they can blister. So I think everybody's taking their time out there at the moment.
All right, everybody taking their time. Michael Andretti here. And James, it sounds like that is definitely a thing that these drivers have got to do, but how hard is that as a race car driver to hold back a little bit and not push as hard as you can?
It's one of the big challenges, DJ, certainly. When you're behind the wheel, you want to give it 10/10ths, but that's the nature of these races. As you move up through the ladder, the races get a little bit longer, and they stop becoming just flat-out sprints at all times, and you have to know when to push and when to hold back. It's a huge skill set required when these drivers take a step up into the NTT IndyCar series. And the driver in the best seat right now is James Rowe, not just because he's leading, but because when you're leading, you're in clean air, you've got more downforce on the car, you're usually sliding the tire a little bit less, so he's in the best position to take care of his Firestones. The drivers behind him, the further back in that line you get, the more dirty air there is, the harder it is to sort of keep control of the sliding and slipping. That is what creates the temperature spikes that can lead to the blistering that Michael Andretti was referring to. So we see the cleanup continues. We're getting closer and closer, but I just hope that it doesn't impact people using that second lane.
Sure. Well, this is just getting the day started. Right after Indy Next is complete, we'll have IndyCar qualifying coming up for the doubleheader. The first lap is race 1, the second lap is race 2, and then the Music Fest begins. Starting off with Luke Combs this afternoon. The hy-vee Homefront 250 is at 7 o'clock local, 8 o'clock Eastern on NBC, and the green is at 8:06 Eastern, and then Eric Church plays here at the track. After that, tomorrow, we've got race 2 for the hy-vee One-Step 250, noon Eastern time, and then Kelsey Ballerini and Post Malone to cap off the weekend for hy-vee IndyCar weekend in Iowa.
Who are you looking for the most? Looking forward to?
I like Eric Church a lot. I like Chief, and I like Luke Combs. So I think today works out pretty well. I'm hoping to stay long enough to see Post Malone for a little bit, but travel might dictate that change. Let's listen and see what the 23 team of Jonathan Brown and HMD are talking about.
Any update on what's the story with the competition caution now?
I would say this is probably going to be used as their competition caution here. Haven't had any updates from anything otherwise, so they're right on schedule for their caution.
Yeah, it's going to go more than the 10 laps
right.
because of that cleanup. So
we've done
in some ways,
already.
Some ways that can be good. There may not be any more tire wear concerns, and this helps cool down the tires a little bit.
Yeah, so essentially what we're doing here is that first 15-lap run, obviously you build up the temperature, you build up the pressures, get the tires sort of to a steady state, and then this period now, as the tire cools down, it sort of hardens a little bit, and it makes the propensity to blister a little bit less, which means that as we get back racing for the last 30 laps, whatever we end up with, it's going to be a bit less than that now. You've got a little bit of a harder tire. It's not, again, as prone to the blistering. It should last the distance just fine. So that was something that Firestone's used in the past. It's a great way to kind of combat an issue that was unforeseen before we got here. And it's sort of ironic the way that the race played out, that we had a caution of at least the number of laps they needed at roughly the lap count that they were looking to start it anyway. So we sort of took care of it on our own.
Down to pit lane, DJ.
Down here with Rob Reed of Force Indy, and this is obviously not the way you wanted to be able to start this weekend. It's been a couple of rough weekends for Miles.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we felt like we had a really good opportunity for Miles to do well on the oval. He likes them, and in practice we were doing well. It just seems like Lady Luck just didn't have it for us. Getting hit on the start, and then, but he was running well. We were competing for ninth. When you know, the spin happens in front of him. So yeah, not a happy day for us.
Well, as you said, at least you've got some good feeling, some good groove on the ovals. Is there one in particular that Miles is looking forward to with the three we've got coming up?
Yeah, I think I've talked to him. I think he's excited about Milwaukee. We had an opportunity to test there, and he has said all along that he really likes ovals. He's worked hard to understand them. And so, yeah, I think Milwaukee should be good. We've got 3 more before we end the season. So I think he's going to do well. But got to have a little bit of Lady Luck on our side.
Well, hopefully it'll come back to here at some point. That was Rod Reed, everybody.
Yeah, unfortunate, because it looked like Miles was hooked up pretty well, and he was showing that you can pass because Miles was doing it.
He was doing it, I mean, almost easily. Like I said, I mean, he qualified 13th, started 18th, and was racing his way up into he was already into the top 10. So he was getting some serious moves done. I mean, who knows where that momentum would have run out, where that steam would have run out, and how far up he would have been able to get. Obviously, the further up the order you're going, the faster the cars you're trying to get around. But still, he was easily passing cars that qualified higher up than he did. So he was doing just a great job. I feel so bad for him.
Get a look at the spotters stand, and a lot of familiar faces up there. Many of these spotters also work for IndyCar spotters. See Steven Simpson, former Indy Lights driver there. And then next to him in the blue and white Patterson Dental shirt, that's 3-time Indy 500 starter Jack Miller, who we've heard on the radio with his son. So that's a very unique circumstance with a father-son spotting combination. And there is the Haven Go and Patterson Dental on board for Miller, a rookie at this level. His first oval race at this level, but he's been quick before in the junior categories. He was always really good at IRP and at Worldwide Technology Raceway, so I know they were looking forward to this weekend and the finish to this season with 4 of the 5 on ovals.
Yeah, it helps when you got a coach, mentor, and father who's done some Indy 500s himself. That can help you get up to speed on the ovals, certainly. As the massive cleanup effort, you saw the fluids out of the 99 dripping all the way down to the white line. That's covering the entire width of the racetrack. This is something that these drivers are going to have to be very heads up about when they get to it that first lap. It should clean up pretty quickly, but I do suspect there might be a little bit less grip through there on that first run through.
So we talked about Christian Bogle and how well he's doing on track today. I would say he's turning heads off the track too here in Corn Country. Look at the look for the number 7 Pelican Energy driver.
That is a pretty sharp suit. It definitely stands out, and it's definitely it's topical and geographically appropriate. I'm for it. I love when drivers and sponsors experiment with stuff like that and have some fun with the suits. We've seen Graham Rahal do it a bunch in the IndyCar series. Marco Andretti famously with his Indiana Jones suit back in the mid-2000s.
It's always good to cater to your audience, too. Know who you're playing to. And as mentioned, this is what is still to come. There's big break coming up. IndyCar will race at Toronto next weekend, along with the USF Pro Championships, but not Indy NXT. So they will be back on an oval. St. Louis, just outside St. Louis in Madison, Illinois, at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Then the final road course at Portland International, and then the Milwaukee Mile. Cannot wait to get back there. And finishing up on the oval, mile and a third concrete, the Nashville Super Speedway to crown a champion. I know you love Milwaukee, right?
Love Milwaukee. So glad to see both that race and Nashville Speedway back on the calendar. That was one that I just missed in my career, Kev. Right when I started Indy Lights, they had just finished racing there, and all the drivers talked so highly of it. It sounded like a lot of fun to race around. I'm excited that that Indy NXT and IndyCar get to go race there again, and Milwaukee's just been a favorite among drivers for over 100 years. Oldest racetrack, I think, in the country, and it's great to get to go back there.
We'll restart in just 2 or 3 laps. Here is another driver doing her first oval at this level, but it's Taylor Fern's first race in anything like this. At Indy NXT in a Formula car, she has done some Skip Barber before, but she's done a lot of oval racing. Here in USAC, Silver Crown, Sprint cars, she's done some midget racing. She did 8 ARCA races in 2013, including here, but stepping up and doing the rest of the ovals for Able Motorsports, very, very tall task.
Definitely. I mean, such a different type of machine from what she's used to, but the ebb and flow of a race, racing on an oval is a certain skill set. Doing it in a, well, I mean, again, she's driven multiple different things, so she's used to jumping into different equipment on this type of racetrack, getting up to speed. This is probably as foreign a car as she's ever driven, but great experience. And I always love seeing drivers from other disciplines come over and race, and whether it's in the IndyCar series, we see a lot of drivers from the 500 do something like that, or down in the development series as well. It's always fun seeing that sort of cross-pollination from other series.
She is a college graduate and actually has multiple degrees and got her law degree from Wayne State University near Detroit. That's where she's from, Shelby Township, Michigan. Also has degrees from Grand Valley State and more. So a very impressive young lady, 28 years old, from Shelby Township, Michigan, and still doing some USAC racing and otherwise this season. So best of luck. Can't wait to see how it goes for Taylor Ferns, and I would say don't judge her by today. Let's give her a few more races and see how it goes. So cleanup is getting close to done, and this was a significant cleanup. Pretty heavy crash with 2 cars, and then just the fluid dropped in.
Yeah, it was just a bad timing, for bad positioning. The way that the car hit, opened up the gearbox, and I think let a lot of that fluid out. But these drivers are going to have to be sensitive about that and cognizant of it when they get there for the first time, as we get the one to go at the line.
Let's check in with DJ real quick.
Yeah, hearing reports from the Able Motorsports camp here, Kevin, that there was a lot of understeer were being reported in the car, so that is something they're going to have to contend with here. And James, I'm sure on an oval, that is about the last thing you want to hear.
Yeah, I mean, look, any imbalance on an oval is a bad one, but everyone's got to deal with it as we're coming around now to get the green flag.
And 4 of the top 5 are Andretti cars. They will go the next time. The only non-Andretti car up at the front is Christian Bogle, running 3rd from HMD. How about Salvador De Alba Jr.? I was told by Louis Foster that he's looked really good in testing. Mentioned he has a couple of wins in the USF Pro Championships on ovals, his last 2 oval races. So he's been looking forward to this. Callum Hedge, strong in his oval debut in 6th. Same for Christian Brooks, and Jacob Abel, championship contender, trying to score some more points and stay within range of Louis Foster. Let's go again from Iowa Speedway. Will this be the sprint to the finish? James Rowe being attacked by Louis Foster this time. A little further back, De Alba is trying to find a way around. No change up front. Now De Alba is trying to tuck his way in.
Just looking, well, big moves down into turn 3. Jamie Chadwick trying to hold on to that top 5 position. D'Alba working the high line off of 4. It's going to be a drag race down the front straight as they look at 3 wide behind them. Who's going to hold it through 2 here, Kev?
That's Chadwick on the low side, D'Alba on the high side. They are effectively teammates. D'Alba is with Andretti with Cape. He's still in the high on that more red car. Christian Brooks not too far behind in the green and black car, and Chadwick is going to maintain the spot. Meanwhile, the start is being reviewed. There was contact again near the back of the field, and Jacob Abel, second in the championship, was involved in that contact, and he's on the pit lane. Oh, a huge blow in the championship for Abel, who is going to lose the lead lap at best.
Report was a tire going down for the 51. You see the team going to work now to get that new right rear. But, I mean, laps down for sure here at Iowa. Such a short lap. He'll be multiple down by the time he gets out. Meanwhile, Louis Foster's main championship rival holding on to second place there. We saw the points as they run. This opens that gap up a ton, especially with Collette out as well. Foster, if he finishes where he's running, that's a very nice buffer heading into the last part of this season.
No action on the restart. So if you're Louis Foster and you know what has happened to your 2 contenders, as we see Chadwick going to the low side on Christian Bogle, trying to get a podium spot. D'Alba's right there too. He's going to think about 3 wide. D'Alba to the low line.
Middle of 3.
Bogle's going to maintain 3rd, and D'Alba's going to challenge for 4th, but Chadwick might hang on to that.
Brooks is now going to try to get into the mix. Look at Chadwick trying to pick a line going into 3. Brooks around the outside, trying to follow D'Alba around as well. Christian Hedge in it.
Who says the racing here is going to be processional? This is awesome.
Hopefully this is a prelude to what we're going to see in the IndyCar race. Tons of momentum for Brooks around the outside. He's going to get side by side with D'Alba, may be able to clear him. D'Alba in that dirty air running on the bottom line of Chadwick. So close coming off of 4.
He's not clear yet. Brooks, green and black car. The orange and red car is D'Alba. Now Brooks is clear. He's going to keep going, trying to go around the outside of Jamie Chadwick, side by side down the front stretch.
And guys, in the middle of this battle is the lap down car of Jacob Abel, who's come back out onto the racetrack several laps down, but right in the mix. He's 3 laps out of contention, but he is running right in front on track of Christian Brooks right now.
With so many yellow flag laps, this race is about done. We are just over 7 laps remaining. There's Chadwick running in 5th, D'Alba in 6th, Hedge back there in 7th, Bryce Aaron in 8th, Jonathan Brown 9th, Euven Sundermore in 10th, Jack William Miller is creeping up toward the top 10.
Huge credit to the AMR safety team for that cleanup, because that did not hinder the racing at all. Drivers able to get up into that top lane immediately. No issues whatsoever, so credit where credit's due on the cleanup.
Drive it in hard.
And here's the lead. Around the outside, Louis Foster, championship leader, trying to pad it some more. Foster to the front.
That was huge commitment from Louis Foster. Now James Rowe not willing to just give up. He tries to fight back into 3, wasn't able to do it. Foster closes the door, takes that air off the front wing of the number 29, and now has a little bit of a buffer.
Is Louis Foster content to finish 2nd? No, he is not. Looking to score even more points and trying to keep James Rowe from winning for the first time. He's finished 2nd and 3rd before, and they are all bunched up looking like the start a little further back.
Kev, I don't like that Jacob Abel is 3 laps down and getting involved in this race. All these point positions behind him, he should be driving down pit lane. He should be getting out of the way. He's affecting the top 5 of this race. Don't love seeing drivers do that, as we may be looking at a 3-wide situation.
Callum Hedge on the low side in the black car, trying to get the 4th. He's gotten around Bogle, who slipped to 5th. Meanwhile, D'Alba is up into that podium position in 3rd. Here's Bogle trying to come back on Hedge. Just over 2 laps to go in Iowa. Brooks now on Bogle. Nose is in front. And Brooks has the spot. He's up to 5th.
His lap really clicking by quickly. 2 to go as Foster crosses the line as a caution comes out. Caution comes out, field is frozen.
Yellow flag.
They'll be coming to the white flag. This will be race over. That's the number 40, Jack William Miller, hard into the turn 3 wall.
And Louis Foster is going to win on an oval and take a commanding lead in the championship.
I'm so sorry, guys.
Foster was in control after taking the lead with 6 laps to go on James Rowe. He had gapped him by a couple of seconds. And now he is going to coast to the finish.
4 wins on the season. This will be number 5. That's an even if you stop there, that's a heck of an impressive run towards the championship. The Andretti Global driver cruising off of 4 now.
His most recent results have been first, second, and another win. Louis Foster has won at the Iowa Speedway and leads the championship now by 77 points.
It's a good thing he didn't wait any longer to try to pull that move off on his teammate, because that caution could have potentially squandered his opportunity. Let's take a look back at what caused this yellow. Looks like maybe, it's hard to see from that angle, there's a chance that Jack got down below the white line maybe. See if we can see from the onboard. Well, just lost it. Oh, look at the blistering on that right rear tire. You almost can't blame the driver for that. That is significant blistering, and that creates all sorts of issues from inside the race car. A big imbalance, obviously. It's going to create vibrations. Just looking at the tires, though, on the top 2, I don't see that same sort of issue.
They look pretty good.
They look pretty good. It's hard to see when the tire's in motion, but once he locks the brakes, when he starts sliding, just take a look. It's on the left side of your screen, but it's his right rear tire. All of those holes, the chunks, man, I'm amazed he made it that far. Just the amount of rubber, the amount of contact patch missing from that tire, that is robbing you of a tremendous amount of grip. Very unfortunate for Jack Miller. Just taking a quick look at the tires on the race-winning car, you don't see that same sort of issue, so a bit of an isolated incident, isn't it?
Look at Michael Andretti looking at them.
Yeah.
And how much are the IndyCar drivers watching this to see what they can learn?
I mean, they look worn, but they look fine. No issues on the right rear. I mean, you know, it's a good effort from the Andretti Global camp, both driver and engineers, to make sure they had a setup that was taking care of those Firestones. The drivers doing what they could from behind the wheel as well. Louis Foster's getting pretty used to this routine, Kev, of the hat dance, what to do, the procedures and the process of being in victory lane.
7 times in his just under 2 seasons at Indy NXT. He won the USF Pro Championship in the scholarship 2 years ago, and now he's on a run of 5 wins in the last 7 races, and the other 2 are runner-ups. Louis Foster now has won on an oval. Down to DJ Clark.
Louis Foster getting ready to get out of the car here at this point and give a big thumbs up. There it is, Louis Foster, his first win on an oval. Big hugs to the team here at this point. He is fired up. You can definitely tell as we come in. Louis, you looked really good this entire race, but that was made with that pass on your teammate. Talk me through that maneuver.
Yeah, I mean, we discussed prior to the race we were going to save tires throughout the start of the race. So, you know, I wasn't challenging James at all at the start. I was just letting him get a gap so I could save my tires. Go on, mate. Thank you, though. And then, yeah, towards the end when there was enough laps to go where I knew if I killed my tires it wouldn't be too much of a big deal, I just kept a pin around the outside, and he lifted and I stayed through. He gave me really good racing room, so yeah, you know, super happy. Obviously the Andretti car was really, really good, so yeah. Did we get 1, 2, 3 in the end? We were. Cool. Sweet. So yeah, obviously really good car, really good day for Andretti, and yeah, really good points in the championship, so super happy.
On that championship battle, is it safe to say you've got a hand on the trophy at this point with both Kyle and Jacob having a bad day?
Nothing's guaranteed. I mean, we're still going to do the same every weekend, work as hard as we always have, and be there right to the end of Nashville, but you know, we've been going really well, so just continue on.
All right, Louis Foster, your victor here today.
And here is how they finished on the first oval of the season, which will be the theme to finish. A lot of bests. James Rowe equals his career best. It's his best finish of the season. Salvador De Alba Jr.'s best finish with 5th. He's on the podium. Callum Hedge matches his best finish. And Christian Brooks keeps getting better each race. 8th, 7th, 5th, another 5th.
Jamie Chadwick going to be a little bit upset to finish down in 7th after that strong start. wanted to make it the Andretti Global clean sweep. As we take a look at the last page, obviously the retirements for Miles Rowe and Kyle Collette early in the day really set the championship tone. As we take a look at how that sits now after 10 of 14 races. 77-point gap over Jacob Abel for Louis Foster. Collette falls down to 109. And before this race even started, we sort of counted Hedge and below out of the championship fight realistically. But that's even growing now, Kev, with a 109-point buffer over third with 4 rounds remaining. It's getting close to, as he said, one hand on the trophy.
All right, back down to DJ.
James Rowe, your pole sitter here today. A second place finish, a fantastic run there for you. But I've got to ask, is there a little bit of bittersweetness to this? Did you want to be on that top step?
Absolutely. Every racing driver wants to be on the top step. But no, look, it's fantastic pole and a P2. We had more in it, a little box in with what I could do with adjustments in the car, but that's motor racing, that's what happens at times. But nonetheless, yeah, mega car, great job by Andretti. 1, 2, 3, and the Cape guys here as well, which is part of the program. So yeah, pretty dominant weekend for us. 1, 2, 3 in quali and 1, 2, 3 in the race.
A very happy James Rowe. We switch over to that aforementioned teammate, Salvador de Alba. Big smiles here. You and I were talking before the race, before the weekend, about how you had a little bit to show here on ovals. It certainly looks like you showed a lot.
Well, firstly, very proud of the team, of the car, and everyone who's put a lot of effort in this project. The Grupo Indy, Mecano, and Red Cola. Yeah, thanks a lot for this first podium. Well deserved for you guys, and of course the team that worked a lot. Yesterday qualifying wasn't great, but we knew the car was going to be there for the race. A little bit of a shortened race, which we wanted more for sure. But well, happy with this first podium. Great oval experience, and again, congratulations to all the Andretti Global, which we sweep the podium.
You heard it there. 3 drivers, 3 steps on the podium, 3 Andretti drivers.
A good omen, and Andretti Global trying to continue that. Qualifying coming up in a little bit, and 2 IndyCar races. Thank you for pinch hitting, Hinch.
Hey, man, happy to do it. Always love coming to watch the future of the IndyCar series come do battle. And, man, they put on a heck of a show. I know it was shortened with some of those caution laps, but there was some great racing, some great action, and hopefully a sign of things to come in IndyCar later this weekend.
2 IndyCar races coming up this weekend, and the field will be set. Stay tuned. Coming up in just a little bit, it's IndyCar qualifying from Iowa.